Hey everybody, and welcome back to another exciting episode of Start Mentoring. This episode is session 2. Today is the day that I make the A. All right. Now, before we get started, here's one thing I want you to keep in mind. Where is the first place you look when you wake up? Like the first place in your room, like whatever wall it is, first place that you look. And where is the last place that you look in your room before you go to sleep at night? If your answer is your phone, we can make that work too. But just remember whatever wall, whatever poster, whatever area it is in your room for the end of this session. All right. So today is session 2, just like I mentioned, and we're talking about the A action plan. All right. A lot of times, the stuff that we deal with in school is psychological, meaning it's all up here, it's all in your head. All right, so this lesson is almost entirely about psyching yourself out. All right. Any of y'all have like a friend who's really, really, really good at lying? Or maybe you're that friend that's really, really good at lying. And they lie so well that you start to believe it. Like they can tell you that the sky is green and you know good and well it's blue. Like you're looking at the blue sky and they're like, yeah, man, it's green. I promise you. And they're so compelling and they're so good at it till it makes you like second guess, like, well, is it green? That's the kind of, I guess, talent or smarts that we're going to work on today. All right. We're going to psych ourselves out and say that, hey, today is the day that I will make the A. And if you tell yourself something so long, you're going to start to believe it. All right. It's just like this example. If you wake up in the morning and say, man, this day is going to be trash. How you think your day going to be? Garbage, right? If you wake up and say, you know what? Today's going to be a good day. I'm going to be all right. It's fine. Nothing's going to stop me today. I can handle it. Whatever life throws at me, I'm going to be resilient. I'm going to let stuff slide. I'm not going to engage with anybody's foolishness today. I'm gonna be all right. Today's gonna be pretty good. Your day is probably gonna be pretty good. All right. So it's all about telling yourself how you want to feel first. All right. If you go into a test and say, man, I'm gonna fail. I ain't study. I don't know what I'm gonna do. Lord, please help me pass. But yeah, I'm gonna fail. Chances are you're not gonna make a good grade. Okay. So it's all about almost using your words as power, all right, to have some control over what happens throughout your day, all right? So besides studying, because that's, that's the obvious thing that you have to do to make good grades, right? You got to study. Here's some other things that we can do to help bring those grades up, all right? So the first thing we got is like a mantra, right? And a mantra is something that you say over and over again. And that is, today's the day that I make the what? Today's the day that I make the A. Okay? So, more on this in a little bit. Besides telling yourself that, step 2 is to be prepared. All right? Now, since we're all home, this kind of doesn't apply if I were to say, hey, make sure you bring your book bag and your supplies to school, because school is now home. Okay? But even at home, if you don't have your pencil, your paper, for some of us, an internet connection, we're not prepared. All right. So when school does start to go back in session, when we are back in the classrooms finally, and when things do slowly go back to normal, have your supplies ready. All right. Have your supplies and everything out. Don't take that little bit of time that teachers give you before they start to socialize, to, talk about whatever with your friends. If you want to do that, then multitask with it. While you're talking about what happened on Fortnite last night, be taking out your pen and your paper. Be taking out your book. Be taking out whatever other supplies you need. Because once that teacher starts, it's go time. And if you're fumbling around in your book bag while the teacher's starting their lecture or their lesson, you done missed the whole first 5-10 minutes of whatever that teacher had to say. And I guarantee you the first 5-10 minutes is usually the most important. Okay, so think about it that way. If I'm shuffling papers, opening books, I'm not listening to what anybody at the board is saying. First of all, Can't even hear him talking. All right. And then I'm focused on, oh, where's my pencil? Where's my pencil? So I'm not engaged at all. All right. But if I have my paper out, pencil in my hand, my book open, and that teacher says, all right, class, and opens that dry erase marker and starts writing on the board, I'm prepared. I'm ready to take notes. I'm ready to listen. Okay. Speaking of listening, that's a good segue. Under be prepared is make sure you listen. All right. I know sometimes if it's not your favorite subject, you're not going to be, I guess, as wanting or as motivated to listen, but you got to listen. All right. The way I thought about it in school was if I did what I was supposed to do and I did a good job at it, I can be done faster. All right. So think of it that way. Sort of kind of turn a weakness into a strength. Okay. So if you get done what you're supposed to do, you'll have more time to do things you want to do after your homework is done. If you make good grades, maybe your parents are going to offer you some sort of incentive or something good that you can do at the end, like I talked about last time with setting good things to happen by the end of the week. All right. I reward myself with food. So if I say, okay, well, this week I have this big project that I need to get done. If I get it done on time and if I do it really well, I'm going to go to this restaurant on Friday. So that's what I do to motivate myself. Of course, I can't go to restaurants now, but I can still reward myself with food. I can still get my favorite snack. So think about it that way. Give yourself little treats or little rewards. Reward yourself. There's nothing wrong with that, right? So make sure you do that. Zoning out, daydreaming during instruction is 40% of the time why students don't understand a lesson. And now, since we're free of distractions now, because you're at home, you don't have your buddy trying to elbow you or pass you a note or your homegirl texting you in class, we don't have those distractions now. All right. But when school is back in session, eliminate those distractions. I'm not saying get rid of your friends, but make sure you sit, number one, where you can see the board. Number two, maybe away from those friends. You know good and well which one of your friends is the chatterbox or the one that's going to keep you most distracted from the lesson. Don't sit next to them. All right. If you have a choice on where you're sitting, pick the best spot to sit. Okay. Now, if your teacher has like a seating chart or if they sit you alphabetically, you kind of don't have any control over that. But at the same time, if you do get seated alphabetically or in a seating chart and you wind up being next to people who are distracting you, there's nothing wrong with asking for that teacher to move you someplace else. All right. It's your education. Your friends can't help you get promoted, let alone double promoted. Your friends can't help you graduate. Only the teacher can do that. Okay. So take charge of your own education. Eliminate those distractions. They're not going to help you. And they'll be there when the bell rings. So it's fine. Or after school. With listening, there's a special lesson on that in session 5 that we'll get into on how to be better listeners and better active listeners. So I'm not going to dwell too much on that right now. So put a pin in it. Come back for session 5. Do your work. That's the main thing that we have to worry about now with not being in school. You have to do your work in order to pass. And now, since we don't have those distractions, you don't have any excuse on not doing your work. But again, when school does come back in session, the majority of your grade is most likely classwork and homework. I had plenty of friends in high school and middle school. They weren't good test takers. They bombed every test. They knew the information, but when it came to tests, they had anxiety. They would clam up. They would just have like a total like brain fart. They couldn't get it with the test. But as far as homework, they did all their homework, they did all their classwork, and they still wind up passing the classes. Okay, so the majority of your grade comes from completing work. All right. Complete your assignments on time. If you have an excused absence, of course, it's excused. Excuse me. But if you have to make up work because either you just didn't get it in on time and your teacher graciously allows you to turn it in later, please do it. I used to have a teacher who, I had several different types with late work. One would not accept late work at all. So you were just out of luck when it came to late work. Another would start you off, like if you completed an assignment that was worth, say, 100 points. The highest grade you could get was a C. Whether you had all your work right or not, because it was late, they were only going to give you a C. Now, you turn in that work and it's not all correct, your grade starts to drop from that C. So not only is it harder to even get a passing grade, it's easier to fail that assignment now because I'm starting so low, okay? But if you get your assignments done on time like you're supposed to, set a deadline. Now we're home, put an alarm on your phone or on your tablet to let you know that, hey, this assignment is due in 2 days. Assignment is due in 1 day. Assignment is due in 30 minutes. Whatever you have to do, make sure you get it done on time, okay? Now, step 3, I think I'm on step 3. I done lost count by now. Either way, do your homework. Since I just finished giving y'all a whole spiel about doing work, that means it must be important, right? So please, please, please make sure you do your homework. But there's an addition to that, all right? Since we're home and we might have a schedule, we might have to check in with our classes at 8:30 or 8 o'clock, and then 3 o'clock sort of kind of marks the end of our day, right? So now it's time for homework. Do your homework first, okay? Don't go hop on the television. Don't go hop on YouTube. Don't go hop on whatever video game it is or hop on the phone. Do your homework first. Here's why. Number 1, because you still have that information fresh on your mind from whatever classwork you did, you're more likely gonna do it faster and do it more correctly because it's still marinating up here. All right. So that's one reason to do your homework first. Another reason to do your homework first is because it gives you more time to do those things afterwards that you enjoy. All right. So get it out of the way. If I come home and I know I have something to do and I procrastinate, which I do a lot, chances are it's going to take me a lot longer to get that thing that I'm supposed to do done because I'm just like, oh, I just finished watching like 4 episodes on Netflix of something. Now I want a snack. Now I kind of sort of have to cook dinner. Now I need another snack. We always think of other things to do versus what we're supposed to do. So please, please, please make sure you do your homework first. Okay? Number 4. I think I'm on number 4. Find something to read every day. I mentioned this in session 1, that if you find something that you love, read about it. All right. I do this thing, and I have a friend who does this thing where if we like something, we have to research pretty much everything about it. If it's a movie that comes on, we got to look at all the actors. We got to look at what the actors acted in before they were in that movie. We go down a wormhole almost of information, just reading up on stuff that we like. And my love of reading came from when I discovered that, hey, I can read about the stuff that I'm into. It doesn't have to be a book that my school assigned me that I have to read all the time. It doesn't have to be homework that I'm reading. You can pick up something at least 15 minutes a day, whether it's an article out of a gaming magazine, a fashion magazine, whatever it is that you're into, and read it. It promotes better vocabulary. Here's an example, and I'm gonna wrap it up. I was in, I believe it was 8th grade. I know it was middle school. I can't remember if it was 7th or 8th grade, but I was into video games. I was a nerd. So I would read, back then it was called PSM, PlayStation Magazine. And I would read all the reviews on the games that I liked. I would read the previews and the reviews from the different people who would play the game and they'd write about it. It's basically like YouTube, but on paper. So anyway, I picked up a lot of different vocabulary words from reading this stuff because it was a magazine. I'm gonna guess it was geared towards older people, like college kids who like to play video games. But here I am in middle school reading it. So of course I picked up on some big words. I did a paper in 8th grade, and of course I used some of those big words in my paper because I was like, ooh, I'm gonna be a little fancy. I can use these vocabulary words that I found. And the teacher, when I got my paper back, because I spent a lot of time on it, I was so proud of my paper. She gave it back and it had an F on it. Excuse me? I spent so much time on this. Is like the best paper I've ever written in my life, and you gave me an F? She said, oh, because of plagiarism. Plagiarism? Plagiarism, for those of you who don't know, that means that you copied somebody else's work. Her explanation was, these aren't vocabulary words that I've taught in my class. These words that you're using aren't even, something an 8th grader would normally know. So that means I cheated? That means I plagiarized? Because you don't think I'm supposed to know those words? I have an F? Because of your opinion about my vocabulary? Needless to say, I brought her all the drafts that I wrote of my paper, and I explained to her that I'm an avid reader. I like reading. And in my reading, I stumbled across these words, and because of the subject that we were writing about, the words fit. She couldn't believe it. My mom, thank goodness, again, she was a teacher. So when it came time for the parent-teacher conference, it wasn't all that pretty. But needless to say, I got an apology from that teacher, and my paper went from an F to an A, because not only did I stand up for myself, my mom stood up for me as well, and I had proof that, hey, I went through like 2 different drafts of this paper. These are my words. All right. I didn't take any lines from any of those magazines. I just sprinkled in nice vocabulary. And she was like, oh no, you can't. Those words are too advanced. Maybe for you, they're not too advanced for me. So that was another thing that I deal with. But like I said, reading every day and reading what you love can sometimes open a door to different vocabulary words. It helps you, of course, improve with your papers, and you get A's on them because now you're using fancy language, right? And then I would use them every day when I would talk to people too. So that's a habit that kind of stuck with me through adulthood. I know my SAT words. So there you have it. So find something to read every day. Pick a subject that you enjoy, because it's going to help you improve your grades and your comprehension skills. All right. The last thing, I think I'm on number 5. Y'all keeping count? I'm not. I'm on number 5. The last one is to have fun. Okay. We're home, so you can, how your teachers used to yell at you if you had like chips in class. You can do that now because we're at home. So if you want to be on Teams with your Doritos and your whatever you had to drink next to you, you can now. All right. We can relax a little bit. We don't have to, unless your parents are making you wear uniforms, but it's not as stuffy. It's not as formal. I'll say that. So have fun. Balance work and play so long as your work comes first. And always, always, always reward yourself for a job well done because you deserve it. All right. Especially in these times, we need something to motivate ourselves to just wake up every day and sort of kind of stay as close to normal as we can. All right. So please, please, please keep yourself motivated and have fun. So my activity before we go, y'all keep seeing my little sign. All right. What I want you to do is this is on computer paper, but you can get poster board. You can get, construction paper, whatever you want. And on it, I want you to make your poster, and I need it to say somewhere on it. Now, it doesn't have to be as big as this, because not only do I want you to write today's the day that I make the A, I want you to decorate it. Okay. I don't want any white left on the page. I want you to clip out pictures from magazines. I want you to draw your own pictures. I want you to find some words of encouragement to go along with your poster. And remember that question that I asked you in the beginning? What's the first place you look and the last place you look before you go to sleep? That's where I want you to put this. Okay. If the answer was your phone, take a picture of it, save it in your gallery, or keep it as your lock screen, and you can look at it every day. All right. Bonus points to get credit for this, just like session 1. And if you have not watched session 1, please go back and look at that before you hop into session 2. It's a little bit too late now. We're at the end. But just like in session 1, once you finish decorating your today's the day that I make the A poster, I want you to take a picture of it or scan it, or however you need to do, have your parents to do it for you, take a picture, email it to me at mdawson@imastarfoundation.org. My email address is probably going to be like somewhere down here on the video. All right, so make sure you email it to me. Again, it needs to have your name, your grade, and what school you go to, because I only work with the BTS Academy, and I don't want my schools getting all mixed up and confused. I work with all the Bridge to Success students, and I need to know which site. So do not put BTS or BTSA or Bridge to Success as your school. Put the site, whether that's A. Philip Randolph Middle, or if that's Jeb Stewart, or if that's West Jacks. Whatever your site is, that's the name that I need. All right. You do get credit for completing these weekly sessions with me. So please don't take my activities for granted. Please do not just say, oh, whatever. Actually do them, because they do make a difference. And for the kids who I have had the pleasure of doing the mentoring steps throughout the regular school year when we were in school, it worked. For those that actually did the activities, it worked. All right. Now, even if you don't make the A, your grade's still going to go up if you use the strategies that you've been given. All right. So again, do your work, be prepared, read something every day, have fun. And remember, today's the day that I make the A.